Hey, good morning. This is Bob from H3. One of the questions we get on the blog occasionally is what is the difference between a serving and a portion? And it's interesting because while we talk about that in the program, it is kind of confusing. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time this morning trying to clear that up. So let's clarify and define what they are. So a serving is a clearly defined quantity that's defined either by our food pyramid, and I'll give you the example of that in a second, or by a label. So when you look at the label, they tell you what a serving size is. A portion, on the other hand, is what we typically eat. So when we serve ourselves a certain amount of food, we would call that a portion, and there may be actually several servings in a portion. So for example, a serving of pasta is a half cup. Now if I invited you over to my house and I offered you pasta and I brought out a dish that looked like this, which is a half a cup, which is in fact the serving, you might look at me and say, Bob, what are you talking about? I mean, that's ridiculous. That's not an appropriate amount of pasta. And I would agree that this is not an appropriate portion, but it is in fact a serving. Remember, a serving is a clearly defined quantity that's based on some criteria. We're recommending X amount of servings of grains per day, and this would be one serving of pasta. All right, now let's take a look at another example. That's a more reasonable portion. So I don't think you get too upset with me if I offered you this. This is one portion, but in fact it's a cup and a half, which is how many? 3 servings. So a serving is a clearly defined amount that nutritional guidelines are based on. We're recommending X servings of pasta. This would be 3. One portion, 3 servings. All right. The other area where this comes into play is with packages on the labels on food. So, for example, this is a box of Mike and Ike's. If you went to the movies, this would clearly be one portion. We'd eat the whole box. But if you look at the label, you would find that a serving is 1/6 of the box. Now, if you look at the calories, it's got 150 calories per serving. If you eat the whole box in that movie, how many calories? 900. 6 servings, clearly one portion. The nutritional information is based on the servings, not necessarily the portions. So when you're looking at the label, make sure you look at the serving size, do one of 3 things. You can eat the whole box, and then you have to account for that, know that it's 900 calories. You can eat 1 serving, but realistically, how many of you are going to do that? Or you might say, you know what, there's just too many calories in this box of Mike Nuggets, maybe I'll pass and go to something else. Another example, coming home from work, long, hard day, you want a little snack, so you look at this muffin. Take a quick peek at the label. It's got 250 calories per serving, and you're thinking, well, that's not a bad idea. I'll walk it off when I get back home. But the fact of the matter is, if you read the label closely, there's 3 servings. One portion, 3 servings. How many calories? 750. One other one. It's a banana nut bread, a Newman's banana nut bread. This has 105 calories per serving. Now you look at this, it's a pretty good sized loaf of bread. Okay, how many servings per loaf? Maybe 3 or 4. Read the label closely. 16. How many calories? 1,600 plus in this loaf of bread. Make sure you understand the difference between a serving and a portion if you want to keep your calories under control. Thank you.